Hi, I'm Leona. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. One click from you means more stories can be shared. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers and make a difference. Let's begin. You're making a big mistake, Dad, I said, standing in the doorway of my childhood home, snow collecting on my shoulders. The Christmas tree lights flickered behind him as he blocked my entrance. The mistake was thinking you'd ever amount to anything, he replied, his voice ice cold. Now get out before you embarrass us in front of the real family. That was last Christmas. A lot can change in a year when someone shows you exactly who they are. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name's Leona Harrison, 29, marketing specialist at a mid-sized firm in Chicago. I always thought I had a decent relationship with my family, especially since Mom passed 5 years ago. Dad remarried Sandra 2 years later. My younger sister, Melissa, still lived at home, finishing college. Then there was my stepbrother, Tyler, Sandra's golden child who could do no wrong. "How's the apartment hunt going?" my best friend Olivia asked over coffee one September morning. We met weekly at Beans and Dreams, our favorite spot since college. "Actually, I found the perfect place yesterday. It's in Westridge, close to downtown." Olivia nearly choked on her latte. "Westridge? How can you afford that neighborhood?" "Mom left me some money in a separate account. Dad doesn't know about it. She always said to save it for something important." I stirred my coffee nervously. "I've been telling Dad I'm renting, but I'm actually buying. The down payment clears tomorrow." "Why lie to your dad about it?" "Because he'd find a way to convince me it's a bad investment. He's always controlled everything. My career choices, who I date, where I live, but not this time." Olivia reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm proud of you. This is a big step." "Thanks. The only person who knows besides you is my real estate agent, Marco. I'm signing the final papers next week." "So, when are you telling your family?" I shrugged. "Christmas dinner, maybe? Dad always acts more reasonable when there's an audience." That was my first mistake. 3 months later, I sat at my father's dining table, surrounded by Dad, Sandra, Melissa, Tyler, and Sandra's parents, the Millers. The tree glittered in the corner, presents stacked beneath it. The aroma of turkey and cranberry sauce filled the air. "So I have some news," I announced during a lull in conversation. 6 pairs of eyes turned toward me. "I bought an apartment in Westridge." Dad set down his fork. "You what?" "I bought an apartment. I move in next month." "That's impossible," he scoffed. "You can't afford Westridge on your salary." "Actually, I can. Mom left me some money." "What money?" Dad's voice sharpened. Mr. Miller shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "An account she set up before she died. It was separate from everything else." Dad's face darkened. "She had no right to hide money from me. It was her inheritance from Grandma. She wanted me to have it." "Well, clearly you can't handle that kind of responsibility," Dad said. "You need to back out of this ridiculous purchase. The papers are signed. It's done." "Then you'll sell it and put the money somewhere safe until you're mature enough." "I'm 29, Dad. I don't need your permission." Sandra interjected. "Your father only wants what's best." "No, he wants control," I said, surprising myself with my boldness. Mom knew that. That's why she kept that money separate. The dining room fell silent. Tyler smirked behind his napkin. Dad stood slowly, his chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "If you think you're so independent, then be independent. Get out of my house." Melissa gasped. "Dad, it's Christmas." "Get out." Each word landed like a slap. "Robert, maybe we should—" Mr. Miller started. "This is my house, Alan, my family." Dad pointed at the door. Leona made her choice. I stood trembling. "Fine. Merry Christmas, everyone." As I gathered my coat and purse, Melissa followed me to the door. "He doesn't mean it. He'll cool down." "No, he won't," I replied. "This is who he's always been. Mom protected us from it." "What about your presents?" she asked, tears in her eyes. "Keep them. I already got what I wanted. Freedom." January arrived with freezing temperatures and a new beginning. My apartment was everything I dreamed of. Hardwood floors, bay windows overlooking a small park, walking distance to work. My phone rang as I unpacked kitchen boxes. It was Melissa. "Dad's still furious," she said without preamble. "I figured. How are you doing?" "I've been applying to internships for next semester. Dad doesn't know." "Good for you," I said, smiling. "How's everyone else?" "Tyler lost his job. Again, he's been crashing in the guest room." "Let me guess. Dad's perfectly fine with it." "Of course. Sandra cried when he moved back in, like her precious baby had come home." We chatted for another 20 minutes before saying goodbye. I felt lighter somehow. For the first time in years, I was making my own choices. A week later, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Dad standing there, looking oddly casual in jeans and a sweater instead of his usual suit. "Can I come in?" he asked, his tone almost friendly. Against my better judgment, I stepped aside. He whistled as he entered. "Nice place. Great investment." "Thanks," I replied cautiously. "What brings you here?" "Can't a father visit his daughter?" "A normal father, sure." I crossed my arms. "But you kicked me out on Christmas." "I was upset. You surprised me with the apartment thing." He wandered into my living room, examining everything. "How many bedrooms?" "2. Why?" "Perfect. That's why I'm here, actually. Tyler needs a place to stay." I blinked, certain I'd misheard. "Excuse me?" "Tyler. He needs his own space, and you have an extra bedroom." "Dad, I'm not letting Tyler move in with me." "Why not? He's family, and he's going through a rough patch." "So I heard, and the answer is no." Dad's friendly demeanor slipped. "Be reasonable, Leona. He'll pay rent." "With what money? Melissa said he lost his job." "He has savings." "No." Dad's face hardened. "I co-signed your college loans. I supported you for years. And I paid back every cent of those loans myself. I don't owe you anything." "This isn't about owing. It's about family helping family." "The same family that threw me out on Christmas?" Dad waved dismissively. "You're being dramatic. Look, Tyler will be here tomorrow with his things." "Absolutely not, Dad. You can't just decide who lives in my home." "It's a simple arrangement. He gets the spare bedroom for a year, maybe 2. "Get out." Dad blinked. "What?" "Get out of my apartment, now." "You ungrateful little—" "Out." After he left, I called Marco, my real estate agent. "Hey, Marco, remember when you mentioned changing the locks? I think I'd like to do that." The next morning, I was working from home when my doorbell rang incessantly. I checked the peephole to see Tyler standing there surrounded by boxes. "Open up, Leona. Dad said it was all arranged." "Nothing's arranged, Tyler. Go home. Come on. Don't be such a—" He tried the doorknob, finding it locked. "Dad gave me his key, but it's not working." "I changed the locks. Go away before I call security." "You can't do this. Dad said—" "Dad doesn't decide who lives in my apartment. I do." An hour later, my phone exploded with texts from Dad, Sandra, even Tyler. I silenced them all. Then Melissa called. "What happened?" "Dad's having a meltdown." I explained the situation while brewing coffee. "Holy crap," she said when I finished. "What are you going to do?" "Nothing. This is my place. Dad has no say in it." 2 days later, I received a certified letter. Dad was suing me for the apartment, claiming Mom's money should have been part of their joint assets, making the down payment rightfully his. "He can't do this," Marco assured me when I called him panicking. "The inheritance was properly designated to you alone." "You don't know my dad," I replied. "He's relentless." "Then get a lawyer. I can recommend someone excellent." The lawyer, Diana Chen, examined my documents carefully. "Your mother was very thorough. The money was legally yours. Your father has no claim." "So what do? We fight, and we win." The lawsuit dragged on for months. Dad tried everything, claiming Mom was coerced, that she wasn't mentally competent when setting up the account, even suggesting I'd somehow manipulated her. Then came the ambush. I was walking to my car after work when Tyler approached, phone recording. "Leona, just admit you stole the money. Dad needs it for his retirement." "Get away from me, Tyler. You've always been jealous of me. That's why you won't let me move in. I'm not having this conversation. He blocked my path. Just sign the apartment over to Dad. He'll let you stay in it. How generous, I replied sarcastically. Now move. Not until you agree. Get out of my way. Make me. When I tried to step around him, he grabbed my arm, hard. Let go of me. Not until you listen. She said let go. We both turned to see Olivia standing there, along with two of our coworkers. Mind your own business, Tyler snapped. Assaulting someone in a parking lot is everyone's business, Olivia replied, phone already dialing. Security is on their way. Tyler released me, but not before shoving me against my car. This isn't over. Security arrived minutes later. I filed a report, complete with witnesses, and got a restraining order the next day. But Dad wasn't done. A week later, I returned home to find an eviction notice on my door from a company claiming to be the building's owner. I called the building management immediately. There must be some mistake. I own my apartment. According to our records, yes. But we've received documents claiming a dispute over ownership. Diana was livid when I told her. This is harassment, plain and simple. They're trying to intimidate you into giving up. What if it works? What if they keep coming after me? Then we hit back harder. Trust me. The next day, Diana filed a countersuit for harassment, with the parking lot incident as Exhibit A. Then we discovered something unexpected. Dad had used company funds to pay for his lawsuit against me. Your father is part owner of Harrison Miller Consulting, right? Diana asked during our meeting. Yes, with Mr. Miller, Sandra's father. They started it together after Mom died. Well, he's been using company accounts to fund his legal fees against you. That's not just unethical. It's potentially illegal. How do you know this? Diana smiled. Because Alan Miller called me this morning. He's not happy about company resources being used for a personal vendetta. 2 days later, Mr. Miller himself called me. Leona, it's Alan Miller. Do you have a moment to talk? Of course, Mr. Miller. I want to apologize for what's happening. I had no idea Robert was using company funds this way. It's not your fault. Maybe not, but I enabled him. Sandra and I both did for too long. He sighed heavily. We're calling an emergency board meeting tomorrow. I think you should be there. The boardroom was tense when I arrived. Dad sat at the head of the table, Mr. and Mrs. Miller to his left, Sandra to his right. Several other board members filled the remaining seats. What is she doing here? Dad demanded when I walked in. I invited her, Mr. Miller replied calmly. This concerns her directly. The meeting was brutal. Mr. Miller presented evidence of Dad's misuse of company funds, not just for the lawsuit against me, but for Tyler's consulting fees, despite no work being performed. This ends now, Robert, Mr. Miller concluded. Drop the lawsuit against Leona, or face a company audit and potential criminal charges. You can't be serious, Dad sputtered. Alan, we've been friends for 20 years. And I've watched you bully your daughters for 20 years. No more. Dad looked around the room, finding no allies. Even Sandra avoided his gaze. Fine, he said finally. I'll drop the lawsuit. And, Mr. Miller prompted, and reimburse the company for the misappropriated funds. And, Mrs. Miller spoke up. Dad's jaw clenched. And I'll leave Leona alone. As the meeting adjourned, Sandra approached me hesitantly. I didn't know, she said softly, about any of it. I should have, but I didn't. It doesn't matter now. It does to me. I failed you as a stepmother. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. Mr. Miller walked me out. Your mother would be proud of you, Leona. You knew her well? We were friends long before she met Robert. She always worried about his controlling nature. He smiled sadly. That's why she set up that account for you. She knew someday you'd need to break free. Spring arrived, bringing with it resolution. Dad's lawsuit was officially withdrawn. Tyler found a job in another state. Apparently, the board's investigation had made him unemployable locally. The restraining order remained in place. Melissa graduated with honors and moved into my spare bedroom temporarily while starting her new job. Dad hasn't spoken to me since I testified at the board meeting, she confided one evening as we shared pizza on my balcony. Are you okay with that? Honestly, yes. It's peaceful. She took a sip of wine. He and Sandra are divorcing, you know. Mr. Miller mentioned it might happen. The company is being restructured too. Dad's being pushed into early retirement. Karma, I mused. Mom would have loved this place, Melissa said, changing the subject. The view, the neighborhood. She'd have loved seeing us here together more. Do you think she knew how things would turn out? I think she hoped we'd find our way eventually. The doorbell rang. It was a delivery, a small package with a note from Mrs. Miller. Inside was a framed photo of Mom, taken years ago, smiling in front of a building. I turned it over, finding an inscription. Westridge Plaza, 1998, where dreams begin. Is that? Melissa started. My building. Mom wanted to live here once. The story came together later, through conversations with the Millers. Mom had dreamed of living in Westridge, but Dad had refused, preferring control over her happiness. Her inheritance became my escape route, the path she never took. Dad called once more, months later. I let it go to voicemail. Leona, it's your father. I'm selling the house. Moving to Arizona. Sandra's gone. Tyler's gone. Even your sister barely speaks to me. A heavy pause. I made mistakes. Many mistakes. If you're willing to talk, to perhaps consider... I deleted the message before he could finish. Some bridges, once burned, should stay ashes. Last week, as I hosted my first Christmas in my apartment, surrounded by Melissa, Olivia, the Millers, and new friends, I raised a toast. To making our own family, I said. And to Mom, who gave us the chance to choose our own path. Later, as guests departed, Mr. Miller handed me an envelope. A final piece of the puzzle, he said mysteriously. Inside was a letter from Mom, dated just before she died, addressed to me but never sent. The last lines read, Remember, Leona, a home isn't just walls and a roof. It's where you can truly be yourself without apology. Find that place, my darling, and never let anyone take it from you. I sleep soundly now, in the home that's truly mine. Dad's name doesn't appear on any of my documents, my phone, or my life anymore. Sometimes strength isn't about fighting back. It's about walking away and building something better. So I'm curious, if someone tried to claim something that was rightfully yours, would you fight them in court like I did, or would you handle it differently? What's your breaking point with family who cross boundaries?